All right, so we're with Kosh Media. It's Alex here at PAX East 2022 for Forever Classic Games. A lot of fun things happening, but I just got to play a demo of Dolmen, which is a sci-fi Souls-like game. Got a lot of like Dead Souls element inside of it, and so I'm here with the dev. And so, if you would, please introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm Gabriel Ferreira. I'm one of the developers of Dolmen.
Awesome. Now, you talked a little bit about the general like inspirations and stuff, but let's give the audience the general rundown of what Dolmen is, and you guys are coming out very soon.
Yes, that's correct. We're coming down really soon on 20th of May for all the major platforms except Switch. So PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and also Steam. So Dolmen is the Souls-like game with a lot of inspirations in Dark Souls, Bloodborne, of course, but also in some games that normally you don't see mixed into each other, like Dead Space and also Mass Effect. So it's a sci-fi Souls game with a lot of ranged combat. And that's what really stands out in Dolmen. The mix between using elemental damage with your ranged weapons alongside with your melee weapons.
Yeah, a lot of success comes with blending in those two elements. So taking shots, building up meters, switching to weapons and getting bonus damage. What sort of other games really kind of inspired the design philosophy of systems like that?
Well, we really were inspired as well by games like The Surge, also Hellpoint, and also a lot of different games that kind of mess it around with elements. But we were also inspired in other games that really you don't see that coming. For example, for crafting, that we do have a lot of crafting in the game. Comes inspired by Dragon Age Inquisition, for example, which is a really good thing. And yeah.
And then you talked a little bit about the lore. What is kind of the general storytelling, like what are you kind of pulling from? Because I know when I look at this sort of thing, I first think of things like Warhammer 40k, but how is the writing side kind of coming along?
Okay, so for the writing and for the story of the game, we had a lot of inspirations in Lovecraft, also in movies like Prometheus and Alien. So the story of Dolmen is that you're this mercenary. You have been hired in order to retrieve Dolmen crystals from this planet, Revion Prime, but it's been suffering an invasion from alien creatures and also from another alien race called the Nikidermas. So along the game, you have to fight these creatures, like these monstrous creatures, really Lovecraftian ones sometimes. So you can expect tentacles, of course, and also the generals that were invading the game, the world.
The dev kind of like development side look like?
Right. So we were hit a little bit different from the other studios in the pandemic. We live in Brazil. Our studio is based in Brazil, but we have always been a remote company since our foundation. So it's the first game of the company, and the game started being produced in 2017, and always have been remotely. So for example, I am from Campinas, which is a city near São Paulo, but the main studio is on the northeast of the country in a city called Natal. So we always been remote.
Very cool. I've seen a lot of Brazilian developers at this show, and then I've worked with various developers and talked to them before. How is the game dev scene in Brazil right now?
It's growing, so there's a lot of really talented people in Brazil doing some really cool stuff, but it is slowly growing into a way larger industry, yeah.
And then lastly, what advice would you have for anybody that's either working on a game or trying to get into the game industry?
Well, I would say to take your time to polish your game, because it's not easy. It's been a 5-year journey, but we're finally getting to an end, and giving that polishment and making the player feels better about what he's doing and trying to get him really comfortable is really hard to achieve. Implementing a lot of stuff is sometimes really cool and really easy, but giving that polishment that it needs, it really takes a long time. So don't spare time, don't waste your time not making the things polished, I would say, yeah.
Very cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you.